خاطر خدمت به مردم و دفاع از وطن، کشتن به مزدورایی که در خارج از کشور در خاک ما تجاوز میکنند.
خب مرکز تعلیمی از نامش پیداست که یک جای تعلیم و تربیت، جای آموزش است. جای آموزش است که اینجا باید اساکر یا پرسنل آموزش ببینه و ما به صفت یک ریتمال میخواهیم که تعلیمات ما مسلکی سازی باشد، بتونیم سرباز مسلکی بسازیم، هر کس در بخش مربوطهش، تا اینکه ما یک اردوی خوبی و یک سرباز و یک نظام خوبی داشته باشیم.
هدف ما همی هستند که در این ساحه تمام سربازای ما، افسرای ما با صلاح دست داشته خود حاکمیت داشته باشند تا یا بتانند در وظیفه که برشان سپرده شود به صورت درست اجرا کنند و دشمن نیست و نابود کنند.
Over the last couple of weeks, the advisors have been working with the 6-1 Kandak and the RMTC, the Regional Military Training Center, in what we call the operational readiness cycle for the 6-1 Kandak. Specifically, what that involves is helping them refit, retrain, and rearm to be able to be operational on the battlefield. They worked with individual weapons handling skills last week, and then now they're focusing more on squad and team tactics. We believe strongly in the infantry community is brilliance in the basics, and that's really what we're focusing on, is getting them to understand those foundation level skills, specifically starting with those individual level skills, and then working to build on those collective tasks, focusing on their ability to actually locate and close with the enemy and be able to defeat them on their terms and with their own equipment and their resources.
An expeditionary advising package is a purpose-built, task-organized team that goes to another location to help out either a brigade or a Kandak.
We get with our partners and we really facilitate their ability to command and control certain operations. And so, that partnership between the advisors, the Corps staff members, the brigade staff members, all coming together to really enhance their ability to work across all the warfighting functions.
Through these advisory packages and keeping the op tempo high, we're forcing the Taliban to react to the ANDSF operations. So what it's allowed the ANDSF to do is gain ground and provide greater security and stability in the province.
Because of the support of our advisor, we exactly changed the situation in Helmand.
The focus is to get the ANDSF to be able to conduct operations on their own with very little assistance from coalition. I think if we continue that, whether it's at the Corps level or based on the new strategy down at the brigade and possibly the Kandak level, the 215th and the 505th Zone have the ability to provide the needed security and stability here.
The strategy is very important for us, and it's very hopeful for the future of Afghanistan, and it's also good for the relationship between Afghanistan and the United States. The terrorists are not only a problem for Afghanistan, the terrorism is a problem for all the world.
I mean, the strategy has been really effective and we've already seen some results in it. I think our partners are very encouraged by it because it doesn't really have a time component. It has a conditions-based component to it. And I think that's been very encouraging for them that we're going to be with them to stay until they get to a level of success. So they're very confident. They're willing to take the fight to the enemy, and I think that's the results we're seeing here.
The intellectual aspect of what we're doing now is greater than what I did in the past. In the past, it was easy to employ power, to work firepower against the enemy. now we really have to use our minds. It's about negotiation. But the other thing that's interesting is there's a great humility to what we're doing, because we have to be able to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers here, and in many cases the Afghans do. So, the way that we might have gone about it in the past may not have been the right way to do it. This is, in some cases, for us, it's harder, but it's also really inspiring to see how the Afghans are able to do that.
Huge difference between 7 years ago when I was first time here and right now. Huge difference. Especially the younger generations who are coming more and more to the system. They are much more proficient in their work, much more educated. We had in the beginning problem with the literacy when my first deployments here, but now I can see the literacy rate is much higher, education is much better, people are much more connected over the social media, social network, getting better informed, and as I can hear, like now in every village they have television and stuff like that, so the people are getting much more educated, which is the key for the future success of the NDSF. The main purpose of this exercise was to conduct a high-profile arrest of the suspect, and the other main focus is to gather the intelligence so we can conduct further operations according to the evidence or intelligence found on the spot. So their job was to conduct everything what they have and leave in about 15 minutes before any reinforcements. All these personnel here that you saw are the instructors, and we as advisors working side by side with them. When they are conducting their training for the new recruits, for the future special operators, we are standing aside, and when the training is done, we're basically giving them tips, what was good, what was better, what should be done maybe a little bit more differently in order to get them more proficient and better. So in time you develop certain relationship, and this has been going on for the last 2 years. Very good. And the morale here in the special operators are much higher than the regular Army units. From my own perspective as an operator, having good equipment means much to the morale, and as you can see, these people are very well equipped and very well trained, which makes their morale much higher than the usual trooper in the field.
It's an 8-week course. The end state of what we're trying to do is get participation from each brigade, plus elements of the 215th Corps, Kandahars as well, and go over the basics of route clearance. By the time they're done, they're very proficient at the IED basics and clear routes, and whether that be, for logistical purposes, or actually getting out in front of the infantry and clearing their routes as well.
این کورس که ما آمدیم زیاد استازای افغانی برادر جان همکارای ما خارجی ها تشکر میکنیم توی کورس بسیار کورسی آرسیسی بسیار خوب کورسه که برای
I've been very impressed with the last 3 operations that we've seen since we've been here, of the route clearance forces and EOD. The amount of IEDs and mines that they clear, out of this AO is impressive. And it starts with solid training, and so that's what I expect of these guys.
The current operation that we're conducting is the My-1-6. It's a clearance operation around Gereshk in order to enhance the security of Lashkar Gah and Gereshk. It was, a joint effort between the police, the NDS, and the 3rd Brigade of the ANA. They cleared the Yakhchal area, and then they followed that up with local clearing operations around Gereshk as well, continuously just kind of putting the enemy on their heels.
My-1-6 در ساحات مسئولیت ولسوالی گرشک پلانگذاری کرده که ما فعلا در آستانه تطبیق بکسه دوم عملیات در ساحات ولسوالی گرشک هستیم که
Right now they've made substantial progress. We advise at the corps level, and in this case we're advising at the corps and the brigade level. Just by being out here with them, we've seen a lot of benefits.
Operation My-1-4 is a focus on the Nawa district, specifically the Nawa district center. The point of the operation was to clear the Taliban out of the Nawa district center in order to establish gyroic governance in the district, ultimately relieving pressure off of Lashkar Gah. And it was a joint operation between the ANA and the AMP, all elements of the police, ABP, and COP as well. So first of all, we saw that the ANA and the police worked well together, and that's huge. And now ultimately the goal is to set up security not only in the district center but in the surrounding area so they can establish governance in the area. They know that the fight isn't necessarily over, but they're up for the task and they're focusing the way ahead.
Operation My-1-5 is really focused on clearing the enemy in the southern part of that district. And I think the ability for the Army and the police forces to work together to achieve a common goal and a set of objectives has been very promising. In the 4.5 months that we've been here, we've seen a really exponential increase in both capability and capacity.
So over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've had a pretty hard fight in Nawa, and we've seen the ANDSF be successful in that operation. They're very committed to the mission, and they're very committed to protecting the population and providing peace and security. What we hope we're going to see going forward now is that the security forces are able to consolidate control, and then that the Afghan government can start to push services and the like. So we're seeing a move in that direction, and this has been a very successful operation, at least in our eyes.
Can't hold my stomach in anymore.
How do we put an end to this fighting and the threat of terrorism to the Afghan people, to the international community, and how do we put this into a path of political reconciliation?
Hands the colors to Major General Fontes. The passing of the unit colors demonstrates to the service members of the unit that the old commander has passed the mantle of leadership to the new commander, and with this, passes on the troops' loyalty as well. At this time, Major General Fontes returns the colors to Sergeant Major Snell, solidifying the change in unit leadership.
She is the most proficient and competent officer at security assistance in our military. So not only is she the most experienced in this region, 12 years in the region, those jobs have all involved security assistance to the nations of the region. In addition to English, she speaks 3 of the regional languages. Coupled with her experience and her intelligence and toughness, she is the best possible commander for this command. She will take this command to the next level. She will help us help the Afghan government to implement President Ghani's 4-year ANDSF roadmap.
To our Afghan partners, it's an honor to serve with you again in this noble mission, and I look forward to working with you as we continue to build upon the achievements of the past years in order to build a stable, secure, and prosperous Afghanistan. Thank you.
Program is finished. See you next time.
Nine, and they will come, the ANDF will come, and they will secure the environment.
cornerstone facility of a project designed to attract more Afghan women to join the ranks of the Afghan National Defense Security Forces, the ANDSF, was turned over at Camp Shireen just outside of Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, during a ribbon-cutting ceremony on March 8. The new barracks and daycare facility compounds are the first permanent facilities to be completed for the Women's Participation Program, the WPP, an initiative being driven by Afghanistan's First Lady. The ribbon cutting coincided with International Women's Day. Women are important to the strategy of the entire Army, said Kaiser. All they want to be is part of the team, with mutual respect as a soldier. Kaiser went on to warn ANA leaders that if they don't embrace the WPP, it is the Army as a whole that will suffer. They, the Afghan women, are capable. They are competent and they are qualified to serve in many areas. The cultural practices in Afghanistan often keep men and women from being able to intermingle. The plan of the WPP is to build separate, safe, and secure, walled-off living facilities for women to become members of the ANDSF more appealing to female Afghans and their families. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Transatlantic Afghanistan District started construction on the $1.4 million facility in December 2015. The two-story barracks can house up to 54 women as they train to become soldiers in the ANA. The Afghan government has a goal to increase the number of women serving within the ANA and Afghan National Police to 10% of the total force. The man in charge of helping develop the Afghan security forces said, "Building new facilities is not the end solution to that objective, but rather it is the first stepping stone." Being able to recruit large numbers of females is critical to the future success of the ANDSF. The Afghan Army is currently authorized 195,000 soldiers, but only has 170,000 within its ranks at this time.
Let's go!
The facilities here for the women are just fantastic, said Australian Colonel Bronwyn Wheeler, gender advisor of the CST Afghanistan. It gives them somewhere that is secure and is safe, and they are able to support each other while they are doing their training in a facility that provides everything for them. I think that compounds like this provide good reassurance for families whose daughters want to go off and join the military, Wheeler added. I think knowing they're coming to a facility like this where their daughters are going to be safe while training to serve their country is a great reassurance for them, and I think it provides them with a little more hope that their daughters will do well. If the Army ignores the contributions that women can give, you will lose them, he said. They will be hired by someone else, and they will show you just how competent and how capable, how professional they are. The USACE-TAA currently has 22 additional projects totaling more than $86 million under contract for the WPP throughout Afghanistan. Those projects include a $5.9 million ANP Academy female staff college that will be able to train 300 women at a time, and Police Town, an entire complex that will include family housing, a primary school, and a clinic.